Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. Today we're in our Su-25T and we're looking at air-to-air missiles. First thing to note, if we're going to arm up in this aircraft, we need to have the canopy open and the engines off and spooled down. If we go to the armament screen here, we can have air-to-air weapons on pylons 1, 2, 10 and 11. So pylon 1, we can have the R60M, pretty old short-range Fox 2 IR Seeking missile. And a more modern variant, we've got the R73, which we can have on pylon 2. So let's get them mirrored over there. Let's get them armed up. The range of them depends on the aspect. If you're head-on with a target, they can be up to about 12 kilometers, something like that. If you're chasing a target, then the R60 is about 2 kilometers, and the R73 is about 3 kilometers. The R73 has a much better seeker head. As you'll see, it's a much more modern missile and is more maneuverable and has more range and a slightly bigger warhead. Other than that, they're exactly the same. They're Fox 2, so they are passive IR sensors. They sense the heat of an enemy aircraft. There is no IFF facility aboard these, so they will happily lock on to friendly planes just as well as they will do hostiles, so you have to be very careful with that. Okay, and we're armed up and good to go. So canopy down, start up. Okay, we're in, we're started up and ready to go. Before we do, let's just look at the keys we're going to be using. So we're going to be using fire weapon to fire them, 6 to put us into the longitudinal missile aiming mode, which is the aiming mode and HUD mode that we're going to need to use, and change weapon to switch between weapons. Okay, let's get off. Okay, we're back in the cockpit now. We're behind some conveniently placed A10As. So the first thing we're going to do is put ourselves into longitudinal aiming mode, which we do by pressing 6. We can switch between weapons using the change weapons. So we've got the R73 selected there and the R60M selected there, and you can see the pylons. If there was just one pylon selected, that would mean that we've only got one missile left of that type. Right, so all we've got to do is maneuver the aircraft so that our heading pointer there is over the aircraft. We should pick up its heat, and we've got a tone and a launch authority. Simple as that, and fire. Note that there is no ranging information. We don't have any ranging information with this type of firing. It's all the targeting is done directly by the seeker head of the missile. Basically, there's no targeting being done by the actual aircraft itself. So we have very little control over range and stuff like that. And let's get an R73 and do exactly the same thing. The only other thing to say is that it is telling us here that we have that missile selected on that pylon. So Fox 2, and he's a dead man. Simple as that, nothing else to add to that. As far as I'm aware, there's no more functionality than that, but it's enough to keep the bird defended. I hope that helps, and see you later.